What's goody to any and everybody who may be listening? Okay. I'm going to be talking about this hostel. Okay, now this was a hostel in East LA. The actual address, the exact address, 2323 Whittier Boulevard. Now, this was one of the first hostels that I stayed in when I came to LA about 5 or 6 years ago. Okay? Now, let's talk about it. It was full of drama. This was a hostel full of drama, and I gotta tell you that spiritual warfare was at an high. I had first moved to LA. This is when the spiritual warfare was really high. Okay? Now, I got to talk about what used to happen when I would walk, just when I first got to the hostel and would be walking around the neighborhood. I had never seen this happen before. There would literally be, and I got chills, massive chills right now, individuals who would see me and cross their hearts. Like, I seen this happen at least 3 times, but this did not start happening until I got to that hostel with that crazy ass manager, lazy, with that dirty hostel with roaches everywhere. Okay, and I'm gonna be getting it to her, and she's gonna get it. I'm gonna give it to her because she asked for it. Okay, I forgot her name. Let me see if I can find her name anywhere here. Let me see if I can find her name. Hold on right quick, because her name, I'm finna get her. I'm finna to get her. Hold on. Okay? Because I got her name in here. Where's that now? Cynthia. The lady name was Cynthia. Now, this was a black lady. Okay? So, anyway, before I get into Cynthia and the guests, all of the other guests, demonic, altered, contaminated in some way, black orbs, demonic attachments, entity attachments, and things of this nature. Now, this is when I was reading tarot cards as well. But let's go ahead and call our light sparks back just from that, where I was seeing these individuals crossing their hearts and things. I did not know where that was coming from. And again, that did not start until I moved into that hostel with Cynthia. Crazy. And a nasty witch at that. I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, light sparks, and soul fragments that got caught up, lost, trapped, stuck, or lodged within the experience of seeing these individuals when they seen me crossing their hearts. Okay. Now, at this time, my protection was weaker because I had I didn't know what was going on. I mean, I knew that I had to leave, North Carolina and be estranged from my relatives or that clan and things of this nature, but I didn't know nearly as much as I know now. So my protection was most definitely weaker at that time. So it's like as soon as I got there, something stuck to me and something attached to me. I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, light, sparks, and soul fragments that got caught up, lost, trapped, stuck, lodged, stolen within the midst of that experience of seeing these individuals crossing their hearts when they see me. Because I thought that was weird, and I was like, why the fuck are these individuals crossing their hearts? Okay? Are released, removed, freed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child. Me. Okay, before I get on Cynthia, I'm going to be talking about some of the individuals who stayed in that house. Now, I don't know why, for the life of me, these individuals fake as fuck. Okay? Now, they pretended to be, I'm not going to say friends because I don't do friends. Bitch, I know people's intentions. And especially in this world right here, this archon world, that's based on deception. It's based on lies and deception and stealing and thieving and things of this nature and dark magic. Okay, so I had a little, students or what have you. These were my so-called students, and I was, teaching them things, and I was giving them readings and things of this nature. There was this one girl in particular that I had gotten a little close with, but I would always catch her making faces. I would always catch her doing something behind my back. I would catch her. I wouldn't say nothing. I didn't say nothing. At that time, I was way different. I have grown so much. Okay? But anyway, let's call our light sparks back from her. This Hispanic girl, this dumb, stupid Hispanic girl who I gave a reading that most definitely came true because the nigga she was fucking with almost killed her, which I told her. I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, light sparks, and soul fragments that got caught up within that Hispanic girl, and I forgot her name because once I was done with her, I was done with her, are released, removed, freed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child. Okay? Now, after I left the hostel, me and this girl, we stayed a little close. We got in contact. She would give me money and things of this nature because I was the teacher. So let's just go ahead and call a light spark from that. I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, light sparks, and soul fragments that got caught up within any of that money that she sent me via Venmo or any money that she gave me are released, removed, freed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child. Okay? I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, light sparks, and soul fragments that got caught up within the midst of any of those readings that I gave her, that got caught up, lost, trapped, stuck, stolen, within the midst of any of those readings that I gave her, particularly that one that was that she came and told me that this nigga almost killed her, and I told her that, are released, removed, freed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child. Okay? There was also a guy, I forgot his name, but I got to tell you about that body odor. It was the body odor for me. He smelled sour. It was giving buttermilk. It smelled like sour buttermilk, that odor. And they was all talking about him in the house. I ain't say nothing about him. I didn't talk about him and then be in his face the next day. I didn't, but I'm talking about him now because I know he was on some bullshit. Okay, these individuals in these networks and within these secret societies, they are fake as fuck. They will smile in your face and do magic on you behind your back. Now let's call our light sparks back from him. He was a little femme too. He was straight. He was a straight boy, but he was feminine. Okay, let me call my light sparks back from him. I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, light sparks, and soul fragments that got caught up within that dude that stunk, that smelled like buttermilk, but I forgot his name, are released, removed, freed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child, which is none other than me. I also want to talk about, let's go back to the Hispanic girl, because she would always, first of all, this bracelet she gave me, let's go ahead and call the light source back from that bracelet that her boyfriend gave her that I did not like. She used to always talk about this. Now, this was a different boyfriend from the one that almost killed her. And let's call the light source back from both of them, as a matter of fact, and that bracelet. I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, light sparks, and soul fragments that got caught up within that bracelet with any of the men that she was dealing with, because she was a whore, most definitely, a stupid, dumb, and lost whore, are released, removed, freed, and brought on home to the mother, the father, and the child. Now I'm back on the dude. I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, light sparks, and soul fragments that got caught up within that dude that smelled like buttermilk and must are released, removed, freed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child. I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, light, sparks, and soul fragments that got caught up, lost, stolen, trapped, stuck, or lodged within any of those readings that I gave him are released, removed, freed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child, which is none other than myself, baby. Okay, now we gotta go ahead and get on the big girl. This big girl, now I forgot her name as well. Because again, once I'm done with you, I'm done with you, and I'm liable to forget your name. Now, this big girl, I did readings for her as well. Let's go ahead and call a light source back from her in general. She was a little nutty as well, because, bitch, I didn't give a fuck about. She would do things like, start a conversation, and then right in the middle of the conversation, she would like tune out and say stuff like, "Oh, well, I'm listening to music right now." Bitch, what? You just started a whole conversation. Okay? I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, light, sparks, and soul fragments that got caught up within the midst of that girl, that got lost within the midst of that big girl's lost, stolen, stuck, lodged, trapped up in that big girl, and any of those readings that I gave her, any of those conversations that we had are released, removed, freed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child. Okay? Now, let's get on this Arab dude or Persian dude. I forgot his name as well, but there was something going on with him. And there was also a dream that I had about him one night, and he was like, well, it's finally, we finally come face to face. Something like that he said to me in that dream. And it was alarming to me. And I also gave him a couple of readings. So let's go ahead and call our light sparks back from that. I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, light sparks, and soul fragments that got caught up, lost, stolen, stuck, trapped, or lodged within that Persian dude or that Arab dude over at 2323 Whittier Boulevard, that hostel, are released, removed, freed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child. And I'm talking about that dream too. Any and all of my energy, light sparks, and soul fragments that got caught up, lost, stolen, trapped, stuck, or lodged within that dream that I had about him. Saying that, we finally meet face to face, or we find something like that. He said, are released, removed, freed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child. Okay? Now, there was also, let's just go ahead and call him back from everybody in the house, but I do want to talk about the one dude who slept on the bunk bed on top. I slept on top, and he slept next to me on the other side of the room, but I woke up one night to this individual jacking his dick, bitch, and it was something like, I felt like he was looking at me like he wanted me to join him, and it was a no for me. Okay. Let's go ahead and call our light because I was disturbed. Let's go ahead and call our light sparks back from that. I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, like sparks and soul fragments that got caught up within the midst of that dude that got caught up, lost, stolen, trapped, stuck, or lodged within the midst of that dude who was jacking his dick and looking over at me as if I was finna be coming over there, are released, removed, freed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child. Okay. Now let's get on this Indian dude who would always ask people for money, like for his rent and stuff like that. He would always be on that computer. He was an Indian dude, and it seemed to me that he would be on that computer scamming, like them Indians do, something like that. I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, like sparks and soul fragments that got caught up, lost, stolen, trapped, stuck, or lodged within that big old fat Indian dude that used to be up on that computer scamming and asking people for money for his rent, are released, removed, freed, and brought on home to the mother, the father, and the child. Okay? Now, uh, there was also a gay dude that came. He came. We were already there, but he was new when he arrived, and he had his mouth. It was something about his mouth where he used words like. And it felt like he was using spells or something like that. That's what it felt like to me. And he said something about death and dying. And I got offended. I got offended by it because it felt like that's what it felt like to me. And I quickly put him on my list of shade. And what my list of shade is that the bitch, don't even look at that bitch. Don't talk, don't speak to that bitch. Don't give that bitch no energy. Okay, that's what that quickly gave after he said that. I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, like sparks and soul fragments that got caught up, lost, stuck, trapped, or lodged within the midst of that gay dude who came, who was new when he came. Of course, he was new when he came, but are released, removed, freed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child. Okay? I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, like sparks and soul fragments that got caught up within the midst of any of the guests, any and all of those guests at any time are released, removed, freed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child. Okay? Now let's get on to Cynthia. Now, I gotta tell you, now, this bitch was fake as fuck. Okay, she was wishy-washy. She was fickle-minded. 1 minute she'll want to kiki and cackle with you. The next minute she'll be mad at the whole world. Okay, you never knew when she would be in one mood or the other. The other thing is that she was very dark, and she did dark magic, and my light most definitely irritated her. It was something about my energy and the power that I possessed at that time. Because even then I possessed power. I had power, like not as much as I got way more now, but then I possessed power too. And she could see that power, and she did not like that. Okay? Now, we would get into arguments, and she would gaslight me. I gotta tell you about this one time. When she was like, she tried to tell me that I seemed discombobulated. When I was not discombobulated, I was fine. Okay? Now, she was gaslighting me. And we got into a huge argument about that because when she said that irritated me. Okay, that really irritated me, and I was like, no, I'm fine. That's you. That you are projecting. That must be you. Discombobulated, because I'm not. Okay, let's call the light sparks back from that. I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, light sparks, and soul fragments that got caught up within that bitch, Cynthia, in general, are released, removed, freed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child. I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, light sparks, and soul fragments that got caught up within any of those attitudes that she had when she was being wishy-washy and thought that I gave a fuck, or any of those arguments that we had are released, removed, freed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child. Even though it was sort of like set up that way, that I was teaching them churn or them people in the house, it was set up. That was like a setup, and um um she did not like that they sort of gravitated towards me and they were getting those readings and listening to me, even though it was set up. Anyway, these demonic networks and secret societies, how they work on the low and things of this nature. She did not like that at all, that I don't want to say the center of attention. I don't want to say that because that's not what I strive to be. But that's sort of like exactly what it was. I was teaching, I was guiding, although it fell on deaf ears because these individuals were within demonic networks and those secret societies and going against the light anyway. Okay? So let's talk about it a little deeper. Now, Cynthia, I gotta get into her. I gotta say it, and like, this is me telling the truth about her. I'm not trying to offend nobody who might be going through what she was going through, but for this bitch to have that bladder, whatever what's wrong with her bladder, where she had to go get that, what's that stuff pumped into you? She had to go sit at the doctor and get that shit pumped into her. I forgot what it's called. Damn. She had something with her bladder, like what wound up. There was something on her arm where she always had to wear band-aids on it. It was very swollen, whatever that thing was on her arm, and it's like something about her bladder. I forgot what it was, but she had no business. Why was she continuing to do dark magic if she knew that she had all that shit going on with her? That thing looked disgusting, and it was right there on her arm, and she wore bandages over it at all times. It was very swollen, and it looked like motherfucking keloids. Okay, but she had to go sit down almost like every day or every other day to get something done, and it had to do with her bladder. But nonetheless, she was in that bathroom. Now, she kept that bathroom spotless. I'm talking about the common bathroom, not the ones in the room. She just let them be dirty. But that common bathroom, she kept it clean because she was up in that bathroom doing magic. She was up in that bathroom doing dark magic, and specifically, she was doing the dark magic on me. Now, let's go ahead and call the light sparks back from that. I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, light sparks, and soul fragments that got caught up, lost, stolen, trapped, stuck, or lodged within the midst of that bitch with that shit on her arms, doing dark magic on me, are released, removed, freed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child. Okay? Now, what else? Let's talk about the dream state. Okay? I've had at least 3 or 4 dreams or astral visitations with her. Okay? And for what? Because, bitch, I did not like that bitch. I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, light sparks, and soul fragments that got caught up, lost, stolen, trapped, stuck, or lodged within the midst of any of those dreams or astral visitations that I had with her are released, removed, freed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child, which is none other than myself. Okay? What else now? What else? Because there's more. Now, the readings that I gave her. I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, like sparks and soul fragments that got caught up within any and all of my light sparks, any and all of my energy, light sparks, and soul fragments that got caught up, lost, trapped, stolen, stuck, or lodged within the midst of those readings that I gave her are released, removed, freed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child. Okay. There was also the instance when she was on the phone with her son, one of her sons locked up in jail, and the bitch had the nerve to turn the phone around on me and show her son me. Bitch, I didn't ask to see your son, nor did I want your son to see me. Who told you to do that? Why did you do that? I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, light, sparks, and soul fragments that got caught up within that son of hers that was locked up in jail, or her showing her son to me and the irritation I felt for her doing it, are released, removed, freed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child. Okay? Now, there was also a dude that she used to company. Her company used to come up. The dude, his name was Jordan, and he was a gay dude. And he had one of those typical attitudes that gay dudes have. Gay dudes, with all that trauma and shit from the society abusing them and scapegoating them, which is sort of understandable, but still no, because deal with it and heal it and transmute that energy, because bitch, you got authority over these motherfucking breeders. Now, anyway, this individual Jordan, was really shady, and I didn't give a fuck because the bitch was bougie. I don't do bougie bitches. Was real bougie. Cynthia was kind of bougie too, very bougie. So let's go ahead and call our life source back from him, Jordan. I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, light, sparks, and soul fragments that got caught up within that dude, Jordan, used to come over Cynthia's house all the time and have an attitude, which I really didn't give a fuck at all. Bitch, I could deal without seeing you. And anyway, Cynthia used to talk about him behind his back anyway. Released, removed, freed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child. I also got to tell you that Cynthia was reckless. She was reckless. Okay? Now, she kept that front door open. At night, I would be worried about who was going to come up in the house because she kept the front door open. It was not locked. She didn't have no key or a code to the door. We got to call like right there from that. I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, like sparks and soul fragments, they got caught up within that. They got caught up, lost, trapped, stuck, stolen within the mere thought of that. How anybody could just come up in the house at any time, are released, removed, freed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child. Okay? And also, I couldn't help but notice them flies. There was a bunch of flies. They stayed right there in the front. They swarmed and flew around in the front yard, and they were always there, day in and day out. You know what that means? Dark magic, demonic activity right there on ground. Excuse me. I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, like sparks, and soul fragments. They got caught up, lost, stuck, stolen, trapped, or lodged within any of those flies. You know, I'm talking about from big to little. Okay, just swarming and flying around the porch at all times. Are released, removed, freed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child. Now, we gotta also talk about this, and this is the last thing. Uh, uh, there was an incident that occurred at her house with this guy that used to stay there. I think he was coming for some mail or something. She was, I don't know, but something happened and an argument broke out, and it was severe. And this dude was talking about coming back with a gun, and Cynthia was so reckless, she did not care about anybody else who was in the house, because this dude could have just came back and motherfucking lit the house up and killed any and everybody in the house. Which I wasn't really scared, but at the same time, it was like, you don't have any consideration for your guests, okay? And she was all like, she wanted all the smoke. She told him she wanted all the smoke. And I'm just thinking about that door not having a lock to it, not being locked. Like, wow. Let's call the light sparks back. I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, light sparks, and soul fragments that got caught up within the midst, that got caught up, lost, stolen, stuck, trapped, or lodged within the midst of that argument with that dude talking about he was coming back with a gun, are released, removed, freed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child. I decree and declare that any and all of my energy, like sparks and soul fragments that got caught up within Cynthia as a whole, that magic she was doing, that house, them flies that stayed swarming around the front porch, any of those tarot card readings and those dreams are released, removed, freed, and brought on back home to the mother, the father, and the child, which is none other than me, myself, and I. And you better know it. Thank you. Bye-bye.